real Japanese stuff out. There was no fake rims or fake anything, you know what I mean? It was just like, you wanted nice rims, you get, you know, Mugen or Racing Hard or whatever else you wanted to get.
What we wanted to go after, at least what I thought I wanted to go after, was FS Squad. I think they just kind of set the trend in so many ways. It was like the basic B-Series swap, but then you got your JDM goodies over here, and it had all kinds of flavor and style to it. And Seattle area didn't have any of that. And it was just kind of like, when you saw a car like that set up, that was a big deal. And it wasn't a lot of money, and it wasn't fiberglass everywhere, and it wasn't, 17, 18-inch rims. It was a big deal to have 5-lug, 15-inch rims, and just all kinds of stuff that you can't go to the store and buy.
Well, the stuff that we bought was expensive stuff, and we didn't have a choice. So it was definitely about the saving game as far as much, putting money away to get these certain parts. I mean, something as, the corner light, back in '93, they were charging $160 for this. And, it's crazy. And, nowadays, because there's so many different sources out, those are a lot more easily accessible.
So like around 98, late 98, I started selling Type R parts on the internet, typerparts.com at the time, on Honda Tech and all them other sites we were doing the same kind of stuff. But from the transition from 99 till 2001, it was just an explosion of it went from like 5 calls a day to like probably 50 calls a day. And it was people buying the same type, I would say 2001 is when it was really getting huge, where people were calling all the time for Type R pistons. And then I actually, had enough customers where I could start bringing in, forged pistons and doing stuff like that. But compared to back in, the way it was in 99, there wasn't a whole lot of action, 98, 99, and then from the time when I left in 02, it was, insane, like every day, 50 phone calls at least, people getting timing belts, full rebuilds, bearings, it seemed like a lot of people were starting to build their own motors then.
Kind of like the Southern California street race scene where everything was NA, It wasn't necessarily about being JDM, it just kind of morphed into that. Everybody was spending money on motors and stuff.
Over time, magazines, car shows, and internet forums were associating the 3 letters with everything, from wheels, paint, and motors, to seats, culture, and even people. The desire for this style was huge.
I mean, if I compared my EG back then, 98, to today, it would be nothing, because it's gone so far beyond what it is, what it was.
I called him up the other day. Yeah, how is Nisa? He says 1998 called, they want their style back.
Now that the JDM scene is the JDM scene, and it's all JDM'd out, and it's just like, rah! It's like, all right, cool. Well then, I sit here and look at it and be like, what can I possibly do to contribute? But it's like, okay, well, JDM's hit this wall right here of what can I do to contribute? I want to inspire beyond, the guys that are making the scene happen. Okay, what's next? It's like, well, what about JDM Rally? What about JDM trucks? What about JDM ASICS shoes? It's like, here are all these kids rocking the Nike Dunks, but if you're so freaking JDM out, why aren't you rocking the ASICs? Point blank. If you want to get silly with it, then get silly with it. I got a JDM toothbrush. All right, there you go, Johnny Wong. How's that? I'll brush my teeth.
Anything that's going to get hot is going to get cold, and vice versa. And if you're really into it, you're really into it. Those guys that are really down and grind and go to Japan and buy their stuff are always going to love it. And then you've got those people that are just in it for the money. And there will be that for anything, any style, any generation. And I myself see it as, personalization. Somebody wants something that other people can't have, and to a certain extent, and to extreme extents at some point, just wanting to get something that's so rare that nobody else can touch it. And it's different for everybody. Somebody's personality is going to want that really rare part just to throw in somebody's face. And somebody else is going to want it because they picture this part in their head in some junkyard all the way in Japan that they want to go and find themselves, and it's a treasure hunt. And it's just, it's different for everybody. And I mean, I think there's people that do it because they like that style, they like that flavor, and they're going to buy the parts that are the knockoff, and they like that look, and that's fine. And they'll be done with the industry in 2-3 months. They're going to lose that flavor, they're going to lose that passion. But there's somebody that's going to, read a magazine 5 years from now with an 88 Civic and some old Mugens on it, and they're going to love it to death.
As of today, many people still appreciate the style and feel it's going strong, while others feel it's a quickly dying trend. No one can predict the future trends and styles of import tuning, but most will agree racing, function, and creativity will always be in the forefront for true enthusiasts. Racing is something people must experience to truly understand. There are countless forms and styles of racing. In the United States import scene, drag racing is the most prevalent. Like most forms of racing, import drag racing spawned on the street. Eventually, events like Test and Tune, as well as Battle of the Imports, became more and more popular, allowing tuners to test their cars in the quarter mile safely and build affordable, yet very powerful motors. JDM-styled cars, however, were tuned in a way that was traditional to circuit racing. Road racing, or circuit racing, has yet to become as big in the United States as it is in Japan.
You know, Honda made this, you know, Mugen is their aftermarket parts guy, you know, there's all these other companies working with it. Well, I want the same things that, like, I see in the best motoring videos on the racetrack, because that's the thing about, I think JDM, the aspects of, hasn't quite come to the realization of, is racing is the ultimate inspiration. Racing never goes out of style. And function of racing is the fashion. Function is the fashion. So if you have a properly functioning car, it'll never go out of style. It will always be in fashion because everyone loves racing, hands down. That has what has inspired this scene from day one, is racing.
It originated with this, you know, the Rice Boy stuff, the typical, you know, intake and exhaust and stuff like that. And then after going to all the street races and going through all the magazines, had a subscription to all the, you know, turbo magazines, Sport Compact Car, I mean, you name it. Going through there, and then just wanted to do, you know, whatever I could. And I always wanted to turbocharge it because of Arthur's G20. And, you know, from day one, I was like, yeah, I'm going to turbocharge it. I'm going to run 13s, you know, whatever. And started taking it to the track, and Mission Raceway was up here, and went there a couple times, and you know, running 15s, bone stock, and yeah, that car I had for I would say 3 years, and turbocharged it within the first, I would say, 4 or 5 months, and it was a pretty basic setup, stock B18C, had a T04B turbo on it, custom turbo kit. And that made around 250 at the wheels until I picked up my first sponsor, Import Special Automotive in Tacoma. And Donnie there had a dyno and got into my first engine management system with that. And that was the PMS system, and tuned in another 50 horsepower, ran 13 O's on street tires. Yeah, and I remember going up to Mission, and back then there was, you know, 95% domestics, and there'd be 4 or 5 of us Honda guys hiding in the corner, you know, getting weird looks from all these, you know, domestic guys as we rolled in. And yeah, and started running 13s with that car and started turning some heads. That motor didn't last very long because obviously it blew up. One after that had it actually fully built, turbocharged, and then ran mid-12s with that one. And then people were starting catching up, running 12 or 13, low 13s. And then, yeah, I decided to switch gears, go all motor, and did a fully built 2 all motor setups and ran 12s with both of them.
Many tuners are finally realizing the potential of their cars and the excitement that goes into a road racing event. The future of road racing, in conjunction with hybrids and other Hondas, looks very, very bright.
Not that we've always understood the racing inspiration from Japan, because we've bought, borrowed, and stole every aspect of Japanese culture aside from the racing, because Japan is in the circuit racing. And here we are drag racing these cars, taking every road racing part and putting it on a drag race car? No. So that part of it has yet to come to us. I think it's slowly getting there, but for me, there's still hope. There's still, you know, forward motion. There's still, you know, room to grow.
I was trying to hit up track events. Right when I built that car is when I got into road racing. And actually Eric B he lived up in San Francisco, and he was kind of like my mentor, I guess you could say. And he knew Tommy that was just here. Tommy was like, he's more of the road racing than Eric B.